Welcome to War Bios, the podcast that delves into the lives of history's most fascinating military leaders. I'm your host, General Biography, and today we're going to embark on a captivating journey through the life of Edward III of England, one of the most successful and influential monarchs in English history. Born into a tumultuous world of medieval politics and warfare, Edward III would go on to leave an indelible mark on the landscape of Europe, forging a reputation as a skilled military commander, a shrewd politician, and a visionary leader. The early 14th century was a time of great upheaval in England, with the kingdom still reeling from the disastrous reign of King Edward II. The Battle of Bannockburn in 1314 had been a crushing defeat for the English army, and the subsequent power struggles within the nobility had created an atmosphere of tension and instability. It was against this backdrop that Edward III was born on November 13, 1312, at Windsor Castle, the son of King Edward II and Queen Isabella of France. The windswept battlements of Windsor Castle, with its imposing stone walls and majestic towers, would have been a familiar sight for the young prince. As he grew up within these storied walls, Edward III would have been aware of the weight of history that surrounded him. The castle, with its rich tapestry of stories and legends, was a testament to the power and grandeur of the English monarchy. It was here, amidst the opulent furnishings and ornate decorations, that Edward III would have received his early education, learning the traditional pursuits of a medieval nobleman: arms, hunting, and literature. His tutors and mentors, wise and experienced men who had served the crown for many years, would have instilled in him the values of chivalry, honor, and loyalty that would serve as the foundation for his future military career. The young prince would have been regaled with tales of his ancestors' conquests and victories, particularly those of his grandfather, Edward I, who had expanded English territories through a series of successful military campaigns. These stories would have sparked a sense of ambition and a desire for power within Edward III, driving him to emulate the great deeds of his forebears. As a member of the royal family, Edward III would have been exposed to the intrigue and politics of the royal court from a very early age. His mother, Queen Isabella, played a significant role in shaping his early years, instilling in him a sense of cunning and a desire for power that would drive him throughout his life. The Queen's own experiences as a member of the French royal family would have given her a unique perspective on the workings of European politics, which she passed on to her son. Isabella's influence on Edward III cannot be overstated. She was a woman of great intelligence and strategic thinking, who had navigated the treacherous waters of court politics with ease. The historical context of Edward III's early years was marked by a series of significant events that would shape his future path. The reign of his father, King Edward II, was characterized by a series of disastrous military campaigns, including the Battle of Bannockburn in 1314, which saw the English army defeated by the Scots. This defeat led to a period of instability and power struggles within England, as various factions vied for control of the kingdom. The young Edward III would have been keenly aware of these developments, watching as his father's authority was gradually eroded by the growing discontent among the nobility. As Edward III entered his teenage years, he began to take on a more prominent role in English politics, attending council meetings and observing the intricacies of governance firsthand. These experiences would have given him a unique insight into the workings of power, teaching him valuable lessons about strategy, diplomacy, and leadership that he would apply throughout his future career. The formative years of Edward III's life were thus marked by a complex interplay of family dynamics, political intrigue, and military ambition, all of which would contribute to the development of a remarkable leader who would go on to shape the course of English history. As Edward III navigated the complexities of English politics, he began to forge his own path, one that would ultimately lead him to become one of the most successful monarchs in English history. The year was 1327, and at the tender age of 14, Edward III was crowned king following the deposition of his father, King Edward II, marking the beginning of a new era for England. This momentous occasion took place amidst the grandeur of Westminster Abbey, where the young monarch, adorned in regal attire, vowed to restore the honor and prestige of the English crown. As he embarked on his reign, Edward III was acutely aware of the need to assert his authority and expand English influence in the region. The First War of Scottish Independence had been raging since 1296, and Edward III saw an opportunity to reclaim English territories lost during his father's reign. In 1328, he led a large army into Scotland, determined to crush the Scottish resistance and bring the rebellious nobles to heel. The campaign was marked by several key battles, including the Battle of Halidon Hill on July 19, 1333, where Edward III's forces decisively defeated the Scots, killing or capturing many of their leaders. The Battle of Halidon Hill was a pivotal moment in Edward III's military career, showcasing his strategic acumen and bravery on the battlefield. As the English army ascended the hill, they were met with a hail of arrows from the Scottish lines. Undaunted, Edward III rallied his troops, urging them to press forward despite the withering fire. The English cavalry, weighed down by their armor, struggled to maintain their footing on the treacherous terrain. But Edward III's leadership and tactical genius ultimately proved decisive. The Scots, unable to withstand the English onslaught, began to falter, and soon their lines were broken. This victory cemented Edward III's reputation as a skilled military commander and paved the way for further English expansion in Scotland. The king's relationship with his contemporaries, including the powerful nobles who had supported his father's deposition, was also crucial during this period. He worked to build alliances and secure loyalty from these key figures, often through lavish displays of pageantry and chivalry. As he led his armies into battle, Edward III would often declare, "The king's will is the law, and those who follow me shall be rewarded with glory and riches." This kind of rhetoric helped to inspire loyalty and devotion among his followers, who saw him as a strong and effective leader. As the years passed, Edward III's military ambitions turned towards France, where he claimed the throne through his mother Isabella. The dispute over English claims to the French throne sparked the 100 Years' War, a conflict that would rage on for over a century. One of the most notable events of this period was the Battle of Sluys on June 24, 1340, where Edward III's naval forces decisively defeated the French fleet, giving England control of the English Channel and securing a vital trade route. The king's relationship with his contemporaries, including the powerful nobles who fought alongside him in France, was also significant during this period. He worked to build a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose among his soldiers, often through lavish displays of pageantry and chivalry. The English army, adorned in their finest armor, would march into battle with banners held high, their war cries echoing across the landscape. Edward III's leadership and charisma inspired loyalty and devotion among his followers, who saw him as a strong and effective leader. Throughout the 1340s, Edward III continued to expand English influence in France, capturing key cities such as Calais and establishing a strong foothold on the continent. His military successes were often accompanied by lavish celebrations and displays of wealth as he sought to promote his own reputation and the prestige of the English monarchy. The king's court became renowned for its splendor and extravagance, with elaborate feasts, tournaments, and other festivities that showcased the wealth and power of the English crown. As Edward III's military campaigns continued to bear fruit, he also turned his attention to domestic affairs, working to strengthen the English economy and promote trade. He established a series of trade agreements with other European nations, including the Hanseatic League, which helped to secure England's position as a major commercial power. The king's support for the wool trade, in particular, helped to establish England as a dominant force in the textile industry, with the city of London emerging as a major center of commerce and finance. The impact of Edward III's achievements during this period was significant, helping to establish England as a major military and economic power in Europe. His military campaigns expanded English territories, secured key trade routes, and promoted the prestige of the English monarchy. The king's relationships with his contemporaries, including nobles and other European leaders, were also crucial in shaping the course of English history during this period. As Edward III continued to navigate the complexities of European politics, he remained committed to his vision of a strong and powerful England, one that would play a dominant role on the continent for generations to come. In the midst of these grand achievements, however, Edward III also faced challenges and criticisms. Some of his nobles and advisors questioned his military strategy, arguing that his campaigns in France were costly and diverting resources away from more pressing domestic issues. Others criticized his lavish spending on pageantry and display, arguing that such extravagance was unbecoming of a monarch who should be focused on the welfare of his people. Despite these criticisms, Edward III remained resolute in his vision for England. He believed that a strong and powerful monarchy was essential to the prosperity and security of the realm, and he was willing to take bold action to achieve his goals. As he looked out upon the grandeur of his court, surrounded by the trappings of power and the adoration of his subjects, Edward III knew that he had truly earned his place as one of the greatest monarchs in English history. The legacy of Edward III's reign would be felt for generations to come, shaping the course of English history and leaving an indelible mark on the nation's identity. His military campaigns, though often brutal and devastating, had expanded English territories and secured key trade routes, laying the foundations for England's emergence as a major world power. His promotion of trade and commerce had helped to establish England as a dominant force in the textile industry, with the city of London emerging as a major center of finance and commerce. As the years passed, Edward III's reputation as a great monarch would only continue to grow, inspiring future generations of English leaders to follow in his footsteps. His commitment to the ideals of chivalry and honor had helped to promote a sense of national identity, with the English people coming to see themselves as a proud and noble nation, worthy of respect and admiration from their European counterparts. As Edward III's life drew to a close, the shadows of time seemed to lengthen across the English landscape, casting a poignant glow over the nation he had shaped for over 5 decades. The Black Death, that great scourge of the 14th century, had left its indelible mark on England, and Edward's later years were marked by a dogged determination to rebuild and revitalize the economy. Like a seasoned commander surveying the aftermath of a brutal campaign, he assessed the damage and set about implementing policies aimed at stimulating trade and commerce, his mind sharpened by the trials of war and statecraft. The establishment of a series of commissions to investigate the social and economic impact of the plague was a testament to Edward's pragmatic leadership, a quality that had served him well on the battlefields of Europe. These commissions, comprising some of the most astute minds in the realm, delved deep into the complexities of the post-plague economy, seeking solutions to the widespread poverty, discontent, and social unrest that threatened to undermine the very fabric of English society. As Edward himself noted, "A kingdom is only as strong as its people, and it is our duty to ensure that they are protected, prospering, and proud to call themselves English." One of Edward's final major contributions to the rich tapestry of English history was the establishment of the Order of the Garter, a prestigious chivalric order that remains one of the most revered honors in the British monarchy. Founded in 1348, amidst the tumultuous backdrop of the Hundred Years' War, the order was dedicated to the promotion of chivalry, honor, and loyalty, values that Edward held dear and had embodied throughout his life. The Garter's membership included many of the most prominent nobles and knights of the realm, men who had fought alongside Edward in countless battles, and its rituals and ceremonies were designed to inspire a sense of camaraderie, duty, and shared purpose among its members. As Edward himself said, with a conviction that resonated deeply with his contemporaries, "The Garter is a symbol of our commitment to the highest ideals of knighthood, and a reminder that true greatness is not measured by wealth or power, but by character and conduct." Spoken by a monarch who had spent his life navigating the treacherous waters of war and statecraft, carried a profound weight, for they reflected Edward's own unwavering dedication to the chivalric code, a code that had guided him through the trials and triumphs of his remarkable career. Despite his advancing age, Edward remained actively engaged in the affairs of state, although he began to delegate more responsibility to his sons, particularly the Black Prince, who had emerged as one of the most brilliant military commanders of his generation. However, the king's health began to decline in the 1370s, and he suffered a series of strokes that left him increasingly incapacitated, his once sharp mind clouded by the creeping shadows of illness. As Edward's physical strength waned, his family and closest advisors rallied around him, providing comfort and support during his final days. The king's funeral, held on June 21, 1377, at Sheen Palace in Surrey, was a grand affair, with mourners gathering from across the kingdom to pay their respects to the monarch who had shaped England's destiny for over half a century. as one contemporary chronicler observed with a sense of awe and reverence. The king's passing was a moment of great sorrow, for he had been a pillar of strength and stability in a tumultuous world. Today, Edward III is remembered as one of the most important figures in English history, a monarch who expanded the nation's territories, promoted trade and commerce, and left an indelible mark on the country's culture and identity. His legacy can be seen in the many institutions and traditions he established, from the Order of the Garter to the English Parliament, which he played a crucial role in shaping. The impact of his reign has been profound and lasting, shaping the course of English history in ways that continue to resonate today, a testament to the enduring power of vision, leadership, and unwavering dedication. He was a warrior king who expanded England's borders through military conquest, but also a patron of the arts and a promoter of chivalry and honor. His impact on English history has been profound and lasting, shaping the course of the nation's development in ways that continue to inspire and fascinate us today. In conclusion, Edward III's remarkable life and reign serve as a powerful reminder of the transformative power of leadership, vision, and determination. As we march toward victory, let us draw inspiration from his example, embracing the values of chivalry, honor, and duty that guided him throughout his life. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.